Welcome back, Gym Rats. It's Deltia, and we are talking about diet. I'm going to talk about diet first because I strongly believe that it's more important than exercise. If you're talking about lifelong goals, getting healthy, looking good, and feeling good. You can work out like a monster, but if you eat like crap, consistently do it, you're still not going to get the results. It's really important to focus on one's diet. Speaking of diet, so this week isn't going to focus so much on your caloric intake, macronutrients, glycemic index, insulin. Now, all those things are really important, but if you don't get the fundamentals down of just the basics of what is good, then you can't get to your goals. So we're going to explain a couple different things. Most important thing that I have to explain is what's called mind eating, what I call mind eating or pleasure eating. And so if we understand this, we can control it. And you can't eliminate it fully because we are humans, we're animals, but you got to realize what this is because this is the biggest roadblock to getting in shape. All right, blatantly obvious statement incoming. Ready? We are human beings and we are animals. Well, duh, Delty, I understand that. The reason I'm pointing this out and explaining this is throughout our human existence, basically we haven't had abundance of food. So we crave it constantly. Our minds are constantly telling us, eat as much as you can, eat now, eat later, eat before, eat yesterday, eat. Plain and simply, you have to control the constant urge to eat and gorge yourself for pleasure. So the worst thing you could do is pleasure eat, meaning eating for a short, quick little high or to feel good. Kind of like abusing alcohol, you can do the exact same thing with food. I used to do this by eating coffee cake. It tastes good, it smells good, but when I got done, I felt like crap, I looked like crap. I continued to do it. It doesn't mean we'll never eat coffee cake again, sweets, donuts, whatever. It's just basically 90% of the time, make the right choice. 10% of the time, okay, make a crappy choice. You can have cheat meals, what we'll get to a little bit later, but focus on what your goal is. If you constantly ask yourself, am I pleasure eating? Do I want to feel good right now? Or am I truly hungry? You can make a lot better choices than you would just being on a strict diet. Because remember, this is about lifelong change. This isn't about dropping 20 pounds and yo-yoing back up. So you have to control your mentality and make it disciplined. After a while, it will become natural to live this way. Before we get into the nutrition, just a disclaimer here. I am not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not Mr. Olympia. I'm just a gamer who's had good results in the past based on what I've read, the research I've done, trial and error. Simply that. So seriously, can talk to your doctor if you have concerns or you're thinking about doing this or whatever. You really need to consult a professional. I am not. I'm just a dude. But this is what worked for me to get that really good lean body. Before we get to that, you ever wonder how a sumo wrestler gets so fat? Well, the trick is they eat once a day, right before they go to sleep, as many calories as they can. So we are going to do the exact opposite. Number one, we're going to control our calories. Calories are simply just a measure of energy. So we can get into micronutrients, so carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, but really energy in versus energy out is super important. Number two, we're going to eat frequently. So like a fire, you want to feed the fire with a log every once in a while. You don't want to have 2 meals a day, 1 meal a day, and gorge yourself. You want to shrink that stomach by eating 300 to 500 calories at a time every 2 to 3 hours. It gives you great results, trust me. And then 3, we're going to eat a balanced meal. I can't stress this enough. There's tons of fad diets out there that say eliminate fats, eliminate carbs, eliminate proteins. I've tried them. They don't work. Sometimes you'll lose weight, but you'll feel like crap, and your body is just not prepared for it. So in my opinion, it's best to eat a balanced meal. That doesn't mean 100 grams of protein. If it doesn't make sense, it probably isn't sensical. So just stick to what works, what is natural, and what your body is meant to do. Number 1, calories. How many calories do we eat? It really depends. If you're 5'2" and 100 pounds, you're going to eat a different amount of calories a day as someone who's 6'4" and 400 pounds. So I can't tell you. There's a bunch of different math ways to figure this out, but roughly 2,000 calories. Go that as a benchmark, and depending on your activity level. Are you an accountant who sits down for 10 hours a day? Okay, well, maybe a little bit less. Are you a roofer or a construction worker that spends 10 hours a day doing physical activity? Okay, well, a lot more. So finding your resting metabolic rate or what you burn naturally throughout the day is very important. If you want to lose a pound of body fat, you need to eat 500 calories less a day for a week to lose 1 pound of body fat. When people start diets, generally they lose a lot of weight to start. And really, that's not body fat, it's just water. So they control their sodium, they start exercising and sweating, and they just drop like 5-10 pounds, but really it's water weight. So your goal is really 1 to 2 pounds a week, typically 1. If you're doing more than that, it's probably not going to be healthy, it's not going to be sustainable, and you'll just yo-yo back up. So our goal is to find out kind of with our activity level, where are we at daily calorie wise, and drop it down by 500 a day for a week. That's it. Eating frequently is really important, every 2 to 3 hours. This doesn't come natural in our society, right? We center our whole lives around 3 ginormous big meals, and some people do 2 or 1. You have to train your body to do this. And it's not going to be comfortable for everybody at first. So this doesn't mean force feed yourself just tons and tons of food. This could be simply taking in a tablespoon of peanut butter. Tastes good, 100 calories, speeds up your metabolism, and gets you used to eating every 2 or 3 hours. Then a little bit later, you have a little snack of something maybe like a protein bar, and so on. So getting used to this might not come easy, but it will pay big rewards later on. Balanced meal. So carbohydrates, fats, proteins. Can't stress this enough. The best advice I've got regarding this is eat the rainbow. So your plate should have a lot of colors on it. Fruits and vegetables throughout the day. Lean protein. So that could be fish, chicken. It should have good carbohydrates such as rice, oatmeal. You know, stick to what's natural and what makes sense, right? You're not going to be sitting there eating Oreos every day. If it grows, eat it. That's as simple advice I can. If you look at your plate, does it have the rainbow? And no, dark chocolate isn't what you're supposed to be eating all the time. Right, so that's great, Deltia, but what do you eat? Now, remember that this greatly depends. So my genetics, basically once I get down in low body fat, I can pretty much eat whatever I want, 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day with my activity level, and not get fat, but I have to lose the body fat first. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Number 2, I don't eat the same amount of calories twice in a row. I don't. So some days I'll have 4,000. Another day I'll have 1,000. Next day I'll have 2,000. And so what I do is I plan that throughout the week to confuse my body so it doesn't get used to a stagnant amount of calories, especially if you're reducing them. So that's important. We can get to all that later, but here's just a sample diet of what I eat. Wake up in the morning, and within 15 minutes, can't stress this enough, you need to eat. Now, don't give me the excuses about eating and I have a job and I have a kid and all this, because Ronnie Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia, was a full-time police officer, and he managed to do it. There's been plenty of people that had kids and all sorts of stuff, and when they're asleep, you can pack and cook all your food, so if you have to, you can do it. So as soon as I wake up, no excuses, I'm eating 2 eggs, 1 cup of egg whites, high fiber oatmeal. Boom. It's really good, tastes great. I add peanut butter to it, the oatmeal, if I want to increase my calories. About an hour to an hour and a half later, I usually go to the gym, so I'll have a pre-workout shake. What this will contain is whey protein, maybe like a pre-workout supplement, looking for sponsors, and then also I'll do fruit or something like that if I'm doing a high carbohydrate day. As I get done with my workout, as soon as I get done, not everyone's going to have access to this, but I bring it to the gym with me. I have about 40 grams of whey protein, and then I have a Gatorade to spike my insulin. There's 3 different types of Gatorade drink depending on the calories I'm intaking that day. A G2, which is really low, a normal one, which is about 35 grams of carbohydrates, and a high one, which is about 65 grams of carbohydrates. So it just depends on what I'm doing that day. Very important, from the Metabolic Diet, great book if you want to read about this, but within an hour I need to eat, and usually if I have a good workout I'm hungry right after. That's a good sign. So within an hour of this, I eat 1 cup of brown rice. It's a little packet you cook for 60 seconds, and I like brown, I don't like white, spikes your insulin. You don't want to do that more than once a day. And then I eat fish or a lean chicken. 3 hours later, depending on my hunger and what's going on. Usually I do cardio right before this, and then I do protein with a scoop of peanut butter or something else, maybe a little piece of fruit, or I'll add milk to it depending on the high calorie day. But within 2 to 3 hours, I want a little bit of protein. Now, if you don't like drinking down all the protein, you can have some meat or something like that. But I would stay away from dairy, and I would stay away from processed lunch meat. It just has tons of sodium in it. And after this, usually it's about dinner time, so 2 to 3 hours, my family and I sit down and we have a meal together, and usually consists of lean meat, sometimes red meat, about maybe once a week, aiming for about 40 grams of protein, and then vegetables. So I'll do Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, sometimes green leafy lettuce, and then I'll add carbohydrates there, like such as rice or something else, beans, if it's a high carbohydrate day. And before I go to bed, really important also, casein protein. It's a long-lasting protein, so when you're sleeping, your bodies can get repaired. So looking for sponsors on that too. And so I rinse and repeat that throughout the week, and then I reward myself every about 3 to 7 days. So if I'm training really hard, I need a cheat meal. What a cheat meal is going to Burger King, going to Five Guys, and getting a crappy, nasty double cheeseburger with fries. Trust me, it's a good reward for you. Human beings aren't robots. We're going to make mistakes, we're going to screw up, and we need to reward ourselves once a week. Now, I've done the cheat meal thing, which I had a super disciplined diet, and then one day a week I just gorge myself. I don't believe that anymore, because I think that leads to eating disorders, and sometimes you just go too haywire, and all the calories that you suffered through for 6 days, you basically just, screwed them up. You basically just overate anyway, so you break even. So the best thing I would do best advice I can give to you, have 1 to 2 cheat meals throughout the week. When I schedule my life, like what's going on in my week, like my son had a birthday party, so what did I do? I saved my cheat meal for that day, so we could have cake together and have fun and have a celebration, and I wouldn't be this guy that brought chicken breast and broccoli. Sometimes I have to do that, but the point is, you can do this type of diet and have a normal life, not sleeping in the dungeon and working out, and that's all you do, and you never eat fast food. Or just be moderate. I'm telling you guys, moderation, it's really important. All right, so in summary, what we're going to do, control our calories, trying to figure that out, withdraw about 500 a day. Number 2, we're going to use common sense when it comes to our diet. So, like I said, not a nutritionist, but eat the rainbow. Fruits, vegetables, rice, chicken, the things that people are always talking about. If someone tells you, don't eat any protein, carbs, or fats, I don't trust it. I've done the 0 carb thing, and tell you what, yeah, did I get lean? Yep, I felt like crap, and I started eating carbohydrates again, and I gained all that water weight back. So while some of them work, I'm telling you what works long term is balance. Trust me. So we're going to eat frequently, and we're going to do it throughout the day, even though we might have some things going on. We can prepare our meals, all that sort of thing. And if we make a mistake, we're not going to freak out about it, right? Everyone makes a mistake and does mind eating once in a while. As long as we recognize it, control it. Okay, well, I don't like rice. Well, find a carbohydrate that's good. Google it, good bodybuilding carbohydrates, and listen to someone else who's a professional. Find what you can eat reliably that's healthy and good. If this doesn't work for you, change it. But I'm telling you, balance, eating the proper food sources, not freaking out if you make mistakes will reward you long term. Next video up, we're going to talk about exercise. So what I do for exercise is in the split I use, and it changes, right? So sometimes I'll go really heavy weight, sometimes I'll go high reps, and I'll just explain what I work. But ultimately, you're going to have to do this trial and error, and nobody's perfect, but anything worth doing is going to be difficult to do. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be a death in the family, and you're going to have to make tough choices when you're not feeling good. I feel like crap. Well, you still need to go to the gym. I feel like crap. Well, that doesn't give you an excuse to eat a cheeseburger. So focus on it, reward yourself with small victories, and keep moving forward to what you want. If I can do it, you can. There's nothing special about me. So let's do it together, and I'll see you next week.